Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this 15th of November, a Wednesday, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here. What are we going to check out first? Russian-Ukraine war. And what we hear this morning is that the Ukrainians have crossed the Dnipro River. And I guess they're coming under heavy fire. It says Russia says Ukrainian forces have crossed the river Dnipro, but face hellfire and death. That's what Russia says. These troops are trying to push back against Russian forces along the Dnipro River right now. That's what's going on in the Ukrainian war. But you remember about, I guess, I told you guys, it must be about a week ago now, I said about don't be unexpected if this war comes to a sudden end, and it could. One of the things that we can't dismiss is the West is having a very hard time building ammunition supplies fast enough. Ukraine goes through the awful lot of ammunition on a daily basis. Now that Icelandic volcano, it's been building up pressure. They've evacuated towns. There's aviation alerts. The volcano's ready to erupt. There's residents of a fishing town in southwestern Iceland, and they've left their home Saturday, increasing concern about the potential volcanic eruption. It's caused civil defense authorities to declare a state of emergency in the region right now. It could blow big. Here's the thing about volcanoes. There's a Mount Pinatubo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it exactly right, but it blew up years ago. And if they blow high enough, they really blow that column of hot gases up high into the atmosphere. There's different layers to the atmosphere. There's like stratosphere, ionosphere, etc., etc. If they blow it up into the highest levels, so that if it's a huge excuse me, if it's a huge explosion, and that can actually cool the Earth down, and we're not talking by just a little bit. Almost the same effect as a nuclear winter would be. It can cool the Earth down by several degrees. A really, really bad volcano. It blocks out the sun. Now, taking a look at this, the House in the United States, they passed a stopgap bill to avert a U.S. government shutdown. This has been going on for a while. The debt ceiling, first the debt ceiling, then government shutdowns have been, and they always come in at the last minute and put in some kind of bill to get things moving again. Here, that's exactly what's happening here. It says the bill extends funding into early 2024, was passed with Democratic support, and needs to be signed off by midnight on Friday. United States House of Representatives has passed a temporary spending bill to avert a government shutdown that could have left many as 1.5 million public workers without pay. The legislation would extend the government funding until mid-January. Now it heads to the Senate, where Democrats have a slim majority and Republicans also have voiced support. So it looks like it's got bipartisan support, probably pass. Taking a look at this, U.S.-China tensions on display as Xi, the leader of China, arrives in San Francisco for a Biden summit. It says President Xi Jinping began his first visit to the United States in 6 years on Tuesday, just after U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken took a thinly veiled swipe at Beijing for stressing the need for freedoms and rule of law. So, Xi is on his first visit since 2017. So, what are they doing? What are they doing? I had an article here that shows what they're doing. Officials in San Francisco, they've been grilled over these meticulously spotless streets. Well, you all know that San Francisco's got a big homeless problem, and the streets are full of tents and everything else. A lot of poor people, probably thousands of them, camp out along the streets and stuff, you know. Well, guess what they're doing? The street workers are and the police are basically shooing them all away. Get out of here! You got to go someplace. They probably they just disappear. They put them probably in a paddy wagon and off they go. And then they get out there and they wash the street. They probably take their tents and stuff they had there and all their stuff, and they probably throw it all in the garbage or whatever. Grind it all up. Then next week they'll buy them all new tents. I mean, this is the silly way things work, and it's all done just so that we won't look like an embarrassment. It's just it's almost like if somebody's coming over to visit your house and you just go through the house like a tornado, trying to put everything away and sweep the floors and clean, 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 you know? And then when they're gone, everything goes back the way it was before. But they don't get to see it, you know? And this is the way with this. The president, Xi Jinping, will not get to see any of this stuff because they'll have it all cleaned up by the time he gets there. But, you know, think about these people, you know, they're sleeping in their tent or whatever on the street or whatever. Maybe they're all covered with newspapers or whatever, you know, and they're sleeping, and 3 o'clock in the morning, some big bruiser of a police officer comes along, and he wake up, get out of here, you're not. They're like, what? All so that they can put on an impressive show, and they won't get to see the reality of the situation of what life in America is really like. They'll never get to see it. Okay. It's a pretense. Now take a look at this chart here. This is why we got these problems. Right here on this chart. Such a rich country, we shouldn't be this way. United States and Canada, both very rich countries, rich in resources, smart people, excellent workers. Why is it like this? Because of corruption in government. And look at it. This is 2023 accumulative receipts and outlays, and this shows how much more they're spending than what they're receiving. And see this little orange line down here? This is a deficit. This is where the two lines don't match up. And this means they're short. Kind of like if you go into the drugstore to, say, buy yourself some candies or something, and you go to the aisle and you're putting all the candies in the shopping cart, but you only got $20 in your pocket, and they get to the register and they want $43. And you only got 20. Well, you got to put the candies back, but the government doesn't put the candies back. They just put them on our... Well, it's not on their tab. It's on your tab. You're the one that's going to pay for all of this. And as the deficit grows bigger and bigger, and each year it adds up in the cumulative interest, and now that interest rates are higher, they're going broke. This is it. This is what this chart's all about. They're going... Excuse me. This is what this chart's all about. Where's the thing, the sidebar to move it up? The government's going broke. Let's take a look at silver. And this is, you know, here's the thing, guys. Silver's been going up the last few days. Silver's going to go absolutely bonkers to the upside at a certain point in time. I can't tell you exactly when, but there's not enough to go around. Demand is increasing. I heard that in the next 10 years, demand's going to double. Meanwhile, ore, which is where they get the silver, is from something called ore, which is big rocks that they haul out of the ground. They've hauled all the best big rocks out of the ground that had the most silver in them. You know, kind of like a watermelon. You know, you slice a watermelon open and take a piece and eat the center where all the sweet stuff is. And then in the end, all you got's rind. You know, the stuff with no sugar in it, the green stuff around the outer edge. That's what they've done. They've cored out the watermelon for silver. They've cored out all of the mines around the earth. First off, they've explored everywhere they can go to explore to find the stuff. And exploration is limited because it's a limited resource. And when they found the silver, they've moved into those territories and they've dug all the best ore out that had the most silver in it. Ore grades are dropping. That means they've ate all the sweet part of the watermelon. They've picked the low-hanging fruit off the tree. Now they got to get a ladder and climb up the tree to get the fruit. It's going to be more work. And we're not talking in a small amount either. I think when they first started digging in this ore, they were getting like 17 to 24 ounces per ton. Now I think it's down to 6. See my point? And they've scoured the earth for new reserves. Industry needs a lot of silver. This means more work every year for them to supply industry with silver. If you don't have silver for industry, nothing works in this society. TVs don't work, computers don't work, cell phones don't work, solar panels don't work, nothing works without silver. And then that's industrial demand. But then the other side of that coin with silver is investment demand. And, you know, lately, the price movements have been sort of indicating that even though they say that silver's an industrial metal, it's starting to look more and more like a safe haven asset to more and more people. And so investment demand's going up as well. There's not enough to cover. And so when this stuff really takes off and goes to the moon, starts to go to the moon, people are going to want to invest someplace to store their money out of these fiat currencies and get into something real and tangible. There's big trouble coming. Because when they start to rob from Peter to pay Paul, and there's not enough silver for industry, that's when the governments are going to put their big foot in the door. I'm not exactly sure yet how, but I'm thinking the average person is not, you're going to probably have a license to buy silver. You're probably going to have a government license. Now, sure, you'll be able to sell it, but buying it, I'm thinking that at a certain point they're going to step in on silver probably. I don't know what these silver retailers are going to do when that time comes and that day comes. But they just can't keep draining from... They can't supply both. They're going to prioritize industry ultimately. They'll have to, or the system will shut down. So silver's $23.32. It's up 26 cents. Get it while you can. Gold is $19.57. It's down $5. And you see these price movements like today. You notice silver's up, gold's down. This narrows the gap, and I've been talking about this for years. I've been saying that the gold to silver ratio, it's going to surpass 10 to 1. It's probably going to go 4 to 1 in the end. gold to silver ratio. What is it right now? About 80? Something like that. I haven't kept track of it in the last little bit. But this means that even if you don't do anything else, if you bought a whole bunch of silver and then later, a couple of years down the road, exchanged it for gold, silver is going to be the new gold. Probably it's probably going to overshoot the 10 to 1 where it should be, or 12 to 1 where it should be. Probably going to go down to as low as 4 to 1. So 4 ounces of silver, you get an ounce of gold? Well, can you just imagine you take 4 tubes of silver in that you didn't pay, you only paid $20 an ounce for or whatever, or $25 an ounce, or whatever when you bought it, say you bought it a couple years ago, or maybe even you paid $30 an ounce. It's not going to really matter that much, is it? If you slide 4 tubes of silver across the table and he slides you a whole tube of gold. And by that time, the price of gold is not going to be what it is right now. It's probably going to be like $25,000 an ounce or higher or whatever. You can't really put a price on it because we're heading toward hyperinflation. I mean, it could be $1 million an ounce. But maybe have the buying power of like 25,000 now an ounce. And so that big tube of gold he slides across because you bought 4 tubes of silver. Now you got a tube of gold. Hey, that tube of gold might be able to buy 5 houses. Damn good investment for just 4 tubes of silver you bought back here on this side. You know, so think about silver. Keep it in consideration because what's your dollar doing in the bank? How much interest are you making on that? And with all this craziness in the banking system, are you even sure you're going to be able to take your money out? You got to think about stuff like this. Okay, cryptocurrency today. We're looking at Bitcoin at 36,237. Ethereum at 2012. And XRP at 63.7 cents. Taking a look at the Dow Jones today, the Dow Jones is up 138 points at 34,966. Taking a look at crude oil, it's down 94 cents at 77.32. I'll tell you what, crude's awful cheap right now, considering what's going on. Considering how this war could get out of hand. I'm talking about, because there's 2 wars, I'll have to differentiate. I'm talking about the war in Israel against Hamas. Could get out of hand. Now, as far as the war in Ukraine, it's just soldiering on until it comes to some sort of a resolution. Let's put it this, well, I'm not going to say that. Bonds and rates today. The U.S. 10-year it's up 9 basis points today at 4.53, and the U.S. 30-year is at 4.68, and it's up 6.3 basis points today. So they're making up for gains they had yesterday with losses today. Bond yields rising again, starting to rise again. Cover the shorts. Anyway, 104.4 for the U.S. dollar index, and it's going up today, and it was going down yesterday, but it's only going up marginally today. Thank you guys for listening to the show. Like and subscribe. Really appreciate you guys out there, my viewers, my audience. Thank you very much for watching my show. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Have a great day. Bye-bye.